My name is Lena Marlowe, and I'm 29. Tuesday night was pasta, jarred sauce that somehow tasted like an apology I didn't owe. Caleb Rivera, 27, came in, set his phone on the counter like a badge, and said, "We need to talk." I kept stirring. "About your behavior lately," he continued. "The comments, the questions. It's exhausting." I turned. "What behavior?" He rolled his eyes. "Seriously? The gym selfie yesterday? You asked who took it? The beach pics on Saturday? You wanted to know who else was there. It's controlling, Lena. You're too insecure." Context. Caleb has been posting a lot lately. Gym shots in microscopic tanks. Beach photos staged like lookbooks. Always tagged at places he never mentioned. Always when he'd said he was with the guys or running errands. "I asked because your reflection shows someone else holding the camera," I said, calm as I could make it. "So maybe someone helped me get a good angle." He threw up his hands. "God, this is exactly what I mean. You analyze everything. The beach was with my yoga group. You're paranoid. It's unattractive. Maybe work on yourself instead of stalking my Instagram." He grabbed his phone and disappeared into the bedroom. 20 minutes later, another gym selfie bloomed on my screen. "Surround yourself with people who get the grind." Hashtag no drama zone. Hashtag living. My best life. Comments flooded in. "Yes, King. Glow up. Some people can't handle a man with options." His best friend Harvey added, "Certain people need to step up or step out." I ate alone and scrolled. That's when I saw it. Something small in his post history, like a loose thread you can't now unsee. I texted him one word from the couch. Maybe. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up a tab I'd been keeping to myself. Wednesday passed too quietly, the kind of quiet that feels like a hallway outside the principal's office. Caleb acted like nothing happened. Kisses on the neck, eggs over easy. "Baby, about yesterday, I was harsh. You're not insecure, just caring." He squeezed my shoulder, smiled at his phone, and typed furiously into one of his group chats. He collected crews, the way kids collect vinyl. Gym boys, yoga guys, brunch bros, espresso collective. Men with hobbies and ring lights. That evening he announced, "I'm going to Harvey's for a vision board night. Manifesting season." He kissed me, promised to be back by 11. At 11:47, I got a text. "Staying at Harvey's. Too much wine. LOL. Love you." Interesting, because at 11:32, he'd posted, then quickly deleted, an Instagram story from a cocktail lounge downtown. The camera panned across sparkling glassware, then paused on a woman's forearm, resting on his thigh. Thin gold bracelet, almond-painted nails, a small tattoo like a constellation by her wrist. I screenshotted it before it vanished. Thursday morning, he came home smelling like borrowed cologne and sunshine he hadn't earned. "Fun night?" I asked. "So fun. You should see my board." He grinned. "It's all about abundance and authentic connections." "Show me." He didn't blink. "Left it at Harvey's to finish the Mod Podge layer. You know how crafts are." I did not. I did, however, know that Harvey was in another state visiting family. He'd posted airport selfies, a terminal window full of cloud banks, a picture of his mom in a floral robe giving a thumbs up. "How's Harvey's mom doing?" I asked, as if I didn't already know. "So much better," he said smoothly. "Thank God." The lie landed like a bead of water on wax and slid away. That afternoon, while he was at work, I posted a photo of my coffee mug with a caption, "Sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones people don't tell." Within an hour, my DMs swarmed. "Destiny. What's that supposed to mean?" "Jade. You good?" "Co. Call me if you need to talk." The most interesting message came from someone unexpected. "Harvey. Weird question, but was Caleb really here last night? My roommate says nobody came by." I stared at the screen, then typed, "Weird. Maybe he meant somewhere else." Harvey. Maybe. Also, has he ever mentioned running a blog or a YouTube thing? My pulse climbed a rung. No. Why? Harvey. Probably nothing. Forget I asked. I wouldn't forget. Because 3 days earlier, insomnia had given me a gift. Buried in a trail of burner accounts and a reused avatar, I'd found an anonymous blog. The tone was smug, the cadence familiar, the details surgical. It was about to change everything. That night, Caleb played perfect boyfriend. He cooked. He laughed at my jokes. He said he'd cool it on the pics because whatever makes you happy makes me happy. Then, while I brushed my teeth, The bathroom door clicked, and his mirror lit up. An unseen photo session, new lingerie on a body I knew too well to mistake. Saturday morning, he said there was a work emergency. On a Saturday. Big client, you know how it is. I didn't. He'd been fired from his marketing job 4 months ago. Information I'd gotten by accident when I bumped into his ex-coworker at the grocery store. I played along. Good luck. He kissed my forehead and left. It took me 20 minutes to make tea and open my laptop. 20 seconds to type the URL burned into my brain. The header read, Confessions of a Trophy Husband in Training. I clicked. The site loaded like a confession, whispered behind a closed door. A minimalist template. A gold serif header. Confessions of a Trophy Husband in Training. Subheader. Optimizing Relationships for Lifestyle ROI. My stomach went cold. I scrolled. The voice was, Caleb's, if you sanded off the ums and fed it a thesaurus. Arrogant, glib, intimate in the way only someone who's been allowed too close can be. Post titles. How to get 3 women to cover your bills without feeling used. Strategic thirst traps. Seeding supply without looking needy. Act dumb, win more. Let her think she's smarter. The vision board trap. Monetizing vulnerability nights. He'd even added case studies, barely obfuscated. Jade became Jay. Co became Cora. Destiny turned into Fate. The details, though, the smoothie brand, the apartment view, the dog with 2 different colored eyes, were surgical. Anyone who knew us could triangulate. There were screenshots of anonymous Venmo requests and PayPal tips, affiliate dashboards with payouts that looked like barcodes for betrayal, Jai's messy divorce circle, $800 affiliate commissions, wine subscription plus healing journal. Cora's family emergency, $1,974 ad revenue from a how-to support a friend post. Fate's weight loss journey, $2,060 sponsor content. Accountability is love. He'd photographed our living room during the last girls' night, our mugs, our tear-reddened faces, cropped, defaced with emojis, but ours. I recognized the ring of condensation one of us left on the coffee table. My coffee table, his camera. And then there was the draft, saved, not yet published. Why I'm cheating on my boring girlfriend, and how to get away with it. She thinks she's the smart one, the planner. Smile and nod. Keep your phone on Do Not Disturb, rotate your crews, gym boys, yoga guys, brunch bros, and set boundary language to healing journey. When she asks questions, call it insecurity. When she notices patterns, call it paranoia. Always have a work emergency that proves you're valuable. If she threatens to leave, initiate intimacy. The body rebonds faster than the brain. Only one line knocked the air from my lungs. Pro tip, use a password she'll never suspect. Something sentimental. She'll never check the date of your first kiss. Our anniversary. I took screenshots of everything. Post by post, comment by comment, payout by payout. Not to publish. Not to humiliate, to anchor reality to evidence before he could try to scrub it clean. Inside the dashboard, a currency counter ticked, mocking in its coolness. 47,208 subscribers, $3,400, $5,100 per month. He'd monetized our lives like coupon codes. My cursor hovered over the delete button long enough to consider mercy. But mercy for whom? Deleting would free him, not protect anyone else. I closed the tab, palms damp, jaw sore from clenching. The apartment felt different, like the furniture had been moved while I slept. I stood up, pressed my hand flat to the wall, and waited for the wave of rage to pass. It didn't, it clarified. On Instagram, I opened the camera and took a picture of my coffee cup. Steam rising, morning light clean as a blade. I typed, Interesting local blog I found. Confessions of a Trophy Husband in Training. Author brags about faking a job, using women's pain for content, and cheating on his girlfriend. Wonder who writes it. The details feel familiar. I didn't tag him. I didn't tag anyone. I hit post, set down my phone, and went to water the plant I kept forgetting to water. The first ping landed before the soil darkened. Destiny. What blog? Then Jade. Is this a joke? Co. Send link. Right now. I sent the homepage without comment. I watched the typing machine bubbles multiply like sparks. 3 minutes later, Harvey. Lena. That blog. Does it say vision board trap? because he asked me once if he could borrow the phrase from my therapist's group handout. I stared at the message, nausea shivering my fingers. Yes, Harvey. My roommate and I can confirm he was not here the night he claimed. I'm so sorry. More messages poured in. A voice note from Jade. I didn't open yet. A simple, oh my God, from Co. Destiny sent a screenshot of a paragraph about curating content from a friend's loss. Change a name. Add emojis. Her reply came fast. Sharp. That's my post. He used my actual measurements, Lena. I sat down. My door clicked in the lock like a final punctuation mark, but it was only the radiator settling. The clock on the microwave ticked to 2:57 p.m. Somewhere, a neighbor's blender thrashed a smoothie into submission. At 3:11, my phone vibrated with a number I'd expected and dreaded. Harvey again, but this time typed slow, deliberate. One more thing. The woman in that lounge story. Bracelet, star tattoo? That's Roxy Hale. She's not just a yoga girl. She's married. Husband is Evan Hale. He posts family photos like it's a job. I rubbed my temples. The constellation by her wrist flashed in my mind like a night sky I didn't remember consenting to. Are you sure? I typed. Positive, Harvey sent, followed by Roxy's profile. Public, polished, impossible to mistake. 10-year anniversary posts. Matching pajamas at Christmas. 2 kids with gap-toothed grins. And in the grid, a photo from the same cocktail lounge, 2 nights earlier, different angle. The caption, date night with my forever person. Hearts everywhere. I exhaled a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. He'd called me paranoid while resting his hand under a married woman's bracelets. The group chat, girls who don't break, we build, ignited next. Jade. The divorce post equals $847? Co. He used my mom's surgery as content. Destiny. He watermarked our pain. Harvey. Sending to Roxy's husband. No one ruins families on my watch. I didn't say wait. I'd spent months waiting for things to fix themselves. Still, the thought of the carnage made my chest ache. Innocent people always catch shrapnel when a liar explodes. At 3:59 p.m., Caleb texted, the messages arriving like hail. We need to talk. What did you do? Take that post down now. You don't understand the economy of content. I stared at that last sentence until the words looked wrong. Economy of content. As if grief were a product and we were the wholesalers. I replied with a single link, the blog's homepage. Then, explain. The typing bubble appeared, vanished, reappeared, panic set to rhythm. You're overreacting. It's satire. They're not real people. I change names. Everyone does this. Everyone doesn't do this. I typed. You wrote it. You photographed us. You monetized our lives. Also, Roxy has a husband. 2 kids. Minutes passed. Nothing. The silence felt like the moment before glass breaks. I gathered the printed screenshots into a neat stack and slid them into a folder. A habit took over. Label, timestamp, corner staple. Not for war, just for the courtroom where truth testifies. At 4:41 p.m., a final text blinked on screen. You always needed a villain. Congrats, you found one. I stared until my own reflection darkened the glass. No, I said aloud to the empty room. I found you. In the hallway, footsteps approached, then paused outside my door. The knob didn't turn. A breath I hadn't realized I was holding finally left my body, shaky but whole. Somewhere in the building, a baby cried and was lifted. Somewhere else, a pan hit a burner. My apartment smelled like coffee and lemon oil and the electric afterscent of a storm you knew was coming but couldn't stop. I set the folder on the entry table, the way you set down a suitcase before deciding whether to unpack or keep going. This wasn't the end. It was the affidavit before the trial. By the time the sun slid behind the buildings, my apartment felt like a stage just before curtain rise. Lights dimmed, silence swollen with things unsaid. At 5:17 p.m., the front door flew open. Caleb stormed in, face flushed, eyes sharp with panic disguised as anger. What did you do? He demanded. I looked up from the couch, calm as I could manage. Hey, work emergency go okay? Don't play dumb, Lena. The blog. Everyone's blowing up my phone. Harmony, Destiny, Co. What did you say to them? I didn't have to say anything, I replied. You already did. Publicly. For months. He paced the living room, hands tugging through his hair, his phone buzzing nonstop. You had no right to read that. That was private. You invaded my intellectual property. Private? I repeated softly. Like Harmony's miscarriage? Destiny's eating disorder? Co's family finances? You wrote about their pain for profit, Caleb. He froze mid-step, the defensiveness faltering into a flicker of guilt, the kind people mistake for remorse. Then it hardened again. You don't understand. It's satire. It's commentary on influencer culture. I laughed, sharp, humorless. Then why are you hiding your name? Because people don't get art anymore. He slammed his hand against the counter. They cancel before they comprehend. His phone rang. He stared at the screen and hit decline. It rang again. He declined again. Who's calling? I asked. He snapped, Doesn't matter. Oh, I think it does, I said, standing now, voice steady. Is it Roxy Hale? His head jerked up, eyes wide. How do you... The tattoo gave her away. Constellation on her wrist. Also, your work emergency was brunch with a married woman whose husband posts family photos every week. You didn't even pick a discreet adulterer, Caleb. You picked a lifestyle blogger. You're lying. I took out my phone, opened Roxy's public Instagram, and turned the screen toward him. Here's her profile. 2 kids. 10-year anniversary post. Date night with my forever person. The same lounge you filmed your story from. Same glassware. Same neon sign. He blanched. She said they were separated. Her husband posted yesterday. Happy 10th anniversary to my amazing wife. Doesn't sound very separated. He snatched his phone, scrolling, denial fighting logic like a dying battery trying to hold charge. You've been spying on me. You've been documenting me, I shot back. You wrote about my family dinners, my coworkers, my rent payments. You called it research. He slammed the phone down. You ruined everything. My blog, my friends, your income, I finished for him. You mean your income? He flinched, but only for a second. I built something real, Lena. You can't handle that. You hate seeing me succeed. Success? I gestured toward the laptop bag by the door. You got fired months ago. You've been pretending to go to work every morning while you sit in coffee shops stealing people's pain for content. He stared at me, jaw flexing. You don't make enough to support us, Lena. I had to get creative. You think rent pays itself? I did what I had to do. You did what you wanted to do, I said quietly. You used people. You used me. And when I asked questions, you called me paranoid. That's not creativity. That's cowardice. His phone buzzed again. He didn't even look at it. You think you're the hero here? You'll see what it feels like when everyone turns on you for exposing me. I didn't expose you, Caleb, I said. You exposed yourself. I just turned on the light. He stepped closer. You think this makes you strong? His voice dropped low, almost tender. You'll end up alone. I actually loved you. I believe that, I said softly. You just loved control more. His face twitched. You know what the saddest part is? He said bitterly. I did all this for you. For us. No, I said. You did it to us. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then he exhaled, grabbed his duffel bag, and started stuffing clothes into it. No folding, no hesitation, just chaos and motion. We're done, he spat. Enjoy your moral high ground. I will, I said. It has a better view. At the door, he paused. You'll regret this. When everyone believes I'm the victim, you'll see. I tilted my head. You really think they'll believe you now? He hesitated. I smiled, not cruel, just final. You should have picked a better password, Caleb. Anniversary dates are sentimental, but predictable. He froze mid-step, realizing what that meant. You? I didn't hack anything, I said. You just assumed I'd never look. That's always been your mistake, assuming silence equals ignorance. He left without another word, the door slamming like punctuation. By 7 p.m., my phone buzzed nonstop. The group chat, Girls Who Don't Break, We Build, was a wildfire of screenshots and disbelief. Harmony. He wrote about my miscarriage, word for word. Jade. The divorce post is literally my story. Same quotes. Co. He made $2,200 off my mom's surgery. What the hell? Destiny. He used my before and after photos from my weight loss journey. I thought I was sending them to a friend. Every secret he'd ever been trusted with had a price tag now. Harmony. Sending all this to Roxy's husband. Married men don't get to skate by. 20 minutes later, the chat went silent. Then, Harmony. Done. I stared at the message, a strange sadness settling in. Justice never felt like joy, just exhaustion wearing a crown. At 9:04 p.m., Caleb's blog disappeared. 4:04, gone. But by then, screenshots had already spread. Local forums, friend groups, yoga studios, everyone knew. His empire of whispers had burned down in under 6 hours. I sat on the couch, the city's glow reflecting off my coffee table. Outside, someone laughed, the sound bright and ordinary. I'd thought exposing him would feel like victory. It didn't. It felt like breathing after holding your head underwater, sharp, messy, alive. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from a number I didn't recognize. Evan Hale. Hi, Lena. Thanks for the heads up about my wife. We're in counseling now, just so you know. The company Caleb bragged about working for, it's actually hers. She's the boss. The Tesla, too. He was just the office manager. I stared at the message until it blurred. Roxy hadn't just been married. She'd been his employer. He hadn't been building an empire. He'd been sleeping his way down a corporate ladder. I exhaled through a laugh that tasted like disbelief. Of course. My phone buzzed again. Harmony this time. He's deleted all his accounts. Gone ghost. Good, I texted back. Let him haunt himself for once. I closed my blinds, made tea, and sat in the golden quiet of a home no longer pretending to be shared. He'd said I'd regret this. He was half right. I regretted that I'd ever mistaken noise for love. It's strange how quickly chaos gets replaced by routine once the storm dies. For weeks, my apartment sounded different. No arguments through thin walls, no late-night typing disguised as work, just air and the faint hum of the fridge. Every now and then, someone from our old circle sent updates like weather reports from another country. Caleb had officially exhausted his couch circuit. Harmony kicked him out after finding $200 missing from her wallet. Jade lasted 4 days before he borrowed her car and returned it with an empty tank. Destiny blocked him after he asked if she could loan her influencer ring light for his new venture. His new venture turned out to be a podcast about toxic women and financial abuse. 3 episodes in, it had 42 listeners, half of them hate following, half of them bots. His blog was taken down permanently after mass copyright strikes. The same women he exploited filed joint claims. The yoga studio banned him. The gym revoked his membership. Someone even put his face on a Reddit thread titled, "Men Who Monetize Misery." I didn't post. I didn't comment. I just watched from a quiet distance, like a witness at a funeral who doesn't need to sign the guest book. When the dust settled, I got one final message from his mother, Deborah Rivera. Lena, I'm sorry for everything he put you through. We're done bailing him out. He's staying with my sister for now, trying to find work. I thought you'd want to know. I typed, then deleted, then typed again. Thank you for telling me. I hope he figures himself out. She replied, you were good for him. I stared at the text for a long time. People always said that when they meant you were patient while he destroyed you. A month later, an envelope showed up taped to my door. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. Theatrical, precise, like someone who wanted to be taken seriously, even when apologizing. Inside was a single page. You turned me into a villain when I was just trying to create something meaningful. You used evidence to humiliate me. You weaponized truth. No signature, just a messy scrawl of his initials, CR. I slid the letter into the same folder as the screenshots. Not to keep, to archive. Because I've learned that people who cry defamation usually mean documentation. By spring, I'd started sleeping through the night again. I joined a hiking group, started therapy, and said yes to a freelance project I'd been too anxious to take before. Turns out, when you're not busy proving your sanity to someone gaslighting you, you get a lot done. That's where I met Ethan Park, a software engineer with an unfortunate coffee addiction, and the gentlest laugh I've ever heard. He asked if I wanted to split a muffin on our second meeting. When I offered to pay, he smiled and said, "No, let's go halves. I like fair things." It shouldn't have made my chest ache, but it did. Fair things felt foreign. One evening, Harmony stopped by with takeout and wine. She looked at the newly painted walls, the fresh plants, the quiet glow. "You really did rebuild everything," she said softly. "I just stopped living in ruins," I replied. She poured wine into mismatched glasses. "Do you ever wonder if he regrets it?" I thought about it for a while. "He might," I said finally. "But regret isn't the same as change. Regret's just ego mourning its reflection." We clinked glasses. Weeks later, a mutual acquaintance sent me one last update. Caleb had moved out of state, trying to rebrand as a motivational speaker. He called himself Cal Bennett now, said the Rivera name had too much baggage. His first live stream talk was titled "The Power of Reinvention After Betrayal." I didn't watch it. Some ghosts don't deserve encore views. Instead, I cleaned my apartment that night. Music low, windows open, air sharp with lemon oil. I caught my reflection in the glass and almost didn't recognize the woman looking back. No fear, no anger, just quiet. On the shelf sat a framed photo from my hiking group. My hand rested on the frame for a moment before I whispered to the empty room, "You were right, Caleb. I did turn you into something else. I turned you into the past." I locked the door, twice, out of habit, then crawled into bed with my phone on silent. Peace isn't the absence of noise, it's learning which sounds not to answer anymore.